recorded? 8 times a Reddit post solved a crime? 8 times a Reddit post solved a crime. Yo, shout out Reddit. What the hell? Oh, this is smaller YouTube too. Okay. What's up,
For
dude?
years,
Tell me
Reddit
about
has
it.
earned a reputation as the internet's collective memory. It's the place where strangers have identified decades-old songs from a few
I use
hummed
Reddit for to find leaks for Fruity Loops and stuff like that.
notes, solved cold mysteries that baffled experts, reunited families with stolen possessions, and uncovered scams that slipped past law enforcement. Millions of people scroll through it every day, expecting
Phenomenal.
little more than arguments, memes, and anonymous opinions. But every so often, an ordinary post refuses to stay ordinary. It becomes a clue, a witness statement.
Oh, my
Sometimes
leg.
even the missing piece investigators didn't know they needed. In this case, a single anonymous observation posted online would quietly redirect a murder investigation, helping authorities close in on a man suspected of carrying out 2 deadly shootings across 2
My
states.
God.
No one who read that post could have imagined where it would eventually lead. The story began on July 13, 2023, when gunfire erupted at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. The victim was Dr. Barry Wold, a longtime laboratory manager in the Department of
What
Molecular
makes you
Biology,
kill a fucking doctor?
Cell Biology, and Biochemistry. Wold had
Or a
worked at
teacher.
Brown for more than 3 decades and
Or
was
anybody.
well known throughout the university community. Emergency responders arrived quickly, but he died from his injuries. As detectives started piecing together what had happened, another disturbing discovery emerged. Just 1 day earlier, Professor Nuno Loureiro of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology had been found dead in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Loureiro was a respected scholar in engineering and applied
What the
mathematics.
fuck? What kind of freak
and
is killing these
investigators
people?
soon began exploring whether the 2 killings were connected. Their attention quickly turned to a former Brown University student named Claudio Valenti. Valenti had enrolled in Brown's physics PhD program between 2000 and 2003, but left before completing his degree. According to investigators, he had also attended the same academic program in Portugal years earlier as Professor Loureiro, establishing a connection between the 2 men that stretched back decades. At that point, however, police still faced a critical problem. They knew who they were looking for, but they did not know where he had gone. Then, an unexpected lead appeared online. 3 days before authorities publicly identified Valenti.
I'm being dead serious. The police need to look into a gray Nissan with Florida plates, possibly a rental. That was the car he was driving. It was parked in front of the little shack behind the Rhode Island Historic Society on the Cook Street side. I know because he used his key fob to open the car, approached it, and then something prompted him to back away. When he backed away, he relocked the car. I found that odd, so when he circled the block, I approached the car, and that is when I saw the Florida plates. He was parked in the section between the gate of the RIHS and the corner of Cook and George Street. Very descriptive.
An anonymous Reddit user described seeing a man matching his appearance driving a gray Nissan Sentra. It was not a dramatic confession or a viral post. It was simply a small observation shared by someone who believed it might matter. Investigators followed the tip. The vehicle was traced to a rental company in Boston, where records showed that the car had been rented using Valenti's real name rather than an alias. That single piece of information gave detectives something concrete to pursue and helped narrow their search considerably. From there, the investigation moved quickly. Authorities located a storage
Get that
unit in Salem,
motherfucker!
Massachusetts that was linked to Valenti. When officers searched the unit, they found him dead, with the suspect no longer alive. The
Wait,
immediate
he's
threat
dead?
had ended, but many of the questions had not. Investigators were left trying to understand what had motivated the shootings, why the victims had been targeted, and what had happened during the days leading up to the attacks. Law enforcement officials stressed that although the suspect had been located, the investigation itself was far from over. One aspect of the case stood out to many
The hell was
observers.
that?
The break did not come from sophisticated surveillance technology or an accidental traffic stop. Instead, it came from someone online who noticed something unusual and decided to report it. That does not mean social media solves crimes on its own.
How crazy would
Internet
it be
rumors
to
can
like
easily
solve a
derail
crime just with your
investigations,
Reddit
and
post?
crowdsourced detective work has often led to false accusations in other high-profile cases. But when online witnesses provide specific, verifiable information, those details can become valuable leads that investigators can independently confirm. In this case, the anonymous Reddit post was exactly that, a lead, not proof. Police still had to verify the vehicle, trace the rental records, identify the
Why
storage
is that
unit,
money wet?
and build the timeline themselves. The post simply pointed them in the right direction. It is a reminder that in the digital age, investigations no longer unfold only through forensic evidence and eyewitness interviews. Sometimes they begin with a stranger, sitting behind a keyboard, deciding that a seemingly ordinary observation is worth sharing, and occasionally, that decision helps bring an investigation to its conclusion.
Jesus, bro, he solved that.
Reddit drug dealers talk about their strangest deals. Money is supposed to make drug deals simple.
Yeah,
In
that's
reality,
the sketchiest way to buy
desperation
drugs.
has a way
I
of
guess
turning
there's not a
ordinary
sketchy way. I
transactions
guess
into
there's like
bizarre barter
a
systems.
there's not a not sketchy way to buy drugs. I guess every way to buy drugs is pretty sketchy unless you know the person. No. Even if you know the person, you don't know if they know the person that they bought it from. So they could have bought some shit in an alley from a sketchy dude and then brought it to you and dapped you up in your apartment. Like, I think just buying drugs in general is crazy. But I will say, like, during Escobar's run, I think he single-handedly like saved America somehow with drugs in general. The selling and all that of drugs like saved America. I may be wrong on that.
Systems that sound more like urban
From like
legends
a
than real
collapse,
life.
I don't know.
When former dealers
Don't
were
do
asked
drugs,
about
obviously.
the strangest things people had offered in exchange for drugs, the answers ranged from oddly wholesome to genuinely unbelievable. One story stood above the rest. A customer wanted a $50 bag of marijuana but had no cash. Instead, he offered his dog. The dealer quickly realized the animal was neglected and accepted the trade. The customer walked away thinking he had solved his problem, while the dog gained a new home and lived another 8 happy years. Looking back, the dealer insisted
Okay,
the
that
dog
seems
was the
sweet.
real winner in the exchange. Not every trade ended so positively. One dealer sold marijuana to his own boss and was reimbursed through his weekly paycheck. At first it sounded convenient, until someone pointed out the obvious. Those wages were now subject to income tax, meaning he had unintentionally paid taxes on money earned from selling drugs. The lesson was simple. The tax authorities may not care where your money came from, but they certainly expect their share. Sometimes people offered skills instead of valuables. A university student who sold marijuana
Jesus.
recalled spending Christmas with a customer's family after accepting an invitation to dinner as payment. Unable to afford traveling home for the holidays, he exchanged a small amount of cannabis for companionship, turning
Oh,
what
that's
could have been a lonely
sweet.
Christmas into one of his happiest memories.
That's really nice.
Another dealer accepted an essay on To Kill a Mockingbird from a high school student in exchange for marijuana. Impressed by the effort, he even added extra
A
product
nerd
as a
buying
bonus.
weed. That's what that
At
is.
least one homework assignment earned an unusually generous grade. Other offers were simply strange. One customer tried paying with a bag containing thousands of pennies. Another attempted to exchange an old digital camera, several nearly empty gift cards, and a mobile phone without a battery, insisting the phone could later be used to hide drugs. One teenager proudly traded a tiny folded $1 bill, shaped like a miniature shirt, because the dealer thought it looked amusing enough to keep. Some people treated drugs like a pawn shop. Former dealers described
I
receiving
guess if you got a
smartphones,
good plug.
expensive calculators, jewelry, knives, car parts.
Yeah, when I used to buy weed, I would trade a lot all the time because I was broke. But I would trade like all sorts of different things for weed.
Tires, lottery tickets, musical instruments, collectible coins, and even offers to sign over ownership of a vehicle. One
Jesus.
district administrator reportedly tried exchanging a massive outdoor school sign for cocaine. The dealer admitted the sign was probably worth more than the drugs, but had absolutely no idea what he would do with it. Food also appeared surprisingly often.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
dealer happily
I mean,
accepted
especially
a
at
peanut butter
festivals, people will trade you like shrooms and stuff for a peanut butter jelly sandwich, just depending on the situation.
and jelly sandwich from a hungry customer.
Oh, yeah, see?
Another was paid with 3 enormous Alaskan salmon after someone couldn't raise enough cash. The fish
Is he
turned
gonna
out
get
be
to the
excellent,
point?
making it one of the few transactions everyone remembered fondly.
His trumpets for some blow.
Occasionally, the stories revealed something more human. A man was offered a valuable wedding ring with Russian inscriptions. After learning it had been stolen from the seller's refugee family,
My
he
God.
quietly mailed it back instead of selling it. Another dealer accepted landscaping work from a longtime customer, who gradually transformed an ordinary backyard into a garden, complete with a koi pond.
Is it? I mean, what
Many
is
of the
this,
people
bro? Is
sharing
he
these
just telling me
No
stories?
longer sell drugs, and several ended their accounts with the same reflection. The strange trades might seem funny years later, but they were also reminders of addiction, poverty, and difficult periods of life that nobody wanted to revisit.
Okay.
The objects themselves were memorable, yet they all pointed to the same uncomfortable truth. When addiction takes hold, almost anything can become currency. A treasured family heirloom,
What was that sound?
a beloved pet, a prized instrument, or even a Christmas meal can suddenly.
This is kind of off topic, but with my son's mom, I had a dog before I met her. No, was it? It was after I met her. His name was Dax. Dax was my best friend, bro. I had an Instagram that was like Dax and Caleb or something like that. Or no, it was Dax. Dax just had his own Instagram. And I would just take pictures of Dax and like upload Dax to his own Instagram. Like that was my best friend, bro. He was legitimately my best friend. We spent every waking moment together. Like I taught him everything he knew. I was really depressed, so it was really good to have him with me. It was like when I was at like some of the lowest points of my life. It was really nice to have him around, and I tried to reciprocate that to him. To be really nice to have around him. I don't know what the fuck did I just say. But my girlfriend at the time, I don't know, she was going through her own shit, I guess, and like she knew that I was like hurting and like depressed and all that, and like she knew that I loved her and would do anything for her. And I was trying to just like save a relationship that seemed like it was falling apart. And she made me sell my dog, my best friend. She made me sell him. And it's really sad because like my last moments with him before I had to sell him, we were on the way to the spot to sell him, and like me and her were like arguing over something probably so stupid. If I can't remember it, it was something so stupid. But we were arguing over something ridiculous. It may have been my fault. I don't know. I was depressed, so I wouldn't doubt it. But yeah, I remember my last moments with them, like, was just spent like focused on her and arguing with her. I think it was just because she made me sell them. Yeah, bro. And then like I met the person, I introduced her to Dax, and her and Dax like, hit it off right away, and it was really awesome. And but I was just so focused on like her, like my girlfriend at the time, and just arguing with her, and it was so sad. But I didn't get a proper goodbye with Dax. I know that's a completely off-topic thing, but yeah, I love Dax, bro. That was my bro.
Suddenly carry a price tag.
Same kind of thing happened with my dog Rollo. My daughter's mom left me, and I lived with my daughter's mom for the longest time. I don't use the word baby mamas. I feel like that's not the right way. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to me. So I just say, my daughter's mom, my son's mom. But I lived with my daughter's mom for a long time, and for years. And I created my life there. My dog lived there. My daughters lived there. We lived there. Like it was like my own little home. But yeah, when she left me, I went to my mom's. I figured that we would, figure things out, just needed space or whatever. But the last time that we split up, it seemed like it definitely felt like the end. I went to get my dog, and she told me no, I can't have my dog. She took my dog, bro. Rollo was like my absolute best friend. I picked him out as a puppy. We would play in the rain together, the snow together. We would go on walks together. Like, we would hug each other. Like, even if I was in like a nice outfit, and I got done with my day, I would run over and just hug my dog Rollo, and he would actually give hugs. Like, he was so sweet. He was like legitimately one of my best friends I've ever had in my life. Yeah, she took him as well. So she took my best friend, and then my next girlfriend, which is my son's mom, made me sell my next best friend, and then I haven't got a dog since. Fucking heartbreaking, bro.
Maybe the
Those are my
strangest
best
trait of all.
friends. Trauma dump. So that last story
The
was kind
Reddit
of
serial
stupid.
killer's shocking capture.
With the whole drug thing.
For years, Reddit has developed an unusual reputation in criminal investigations. Sometimes its users uncover remarkable leads. Other times, they fuel wild speculation that sends investigators in the wrong direction.
Right.
But in Louisville, Kentucky,
I
one
imagine
Reddit
that
post turned out to be
Timu read
something
above it.
far more
I imagine the FBI like uses Reddit a lot.
disturbing. It wasn't written by someone trying to solve a murder. According to investigators, it was written by the killer himself. On December 21st, 2025, an anonymous account posted on the Louisville subreddit asking about rumors of
What does it say? Possible serial killer in Louisville? So my friend is in LMPD, and he said he overheard detectives from the homicide unit talk about multiple killings of unhoused people near the I-65 interstate. And they were saying how the killer supposedly drew a symbol near the bodies. Can we get more information about this, please? We need to know for sure. This is the killer, they said? What the fuck? DPH trip alt.
homeless people being murdered
Upside down
near
crosses as
Interstate
this picture, by the
65.
way.
The post claimed a friend in the homicide unit had overheard detectives discussing several killings and mentioned that strange symbols had been drawn near the victims' bodies. At first glance, it looked like another piece of internet gossip. Police had no suspect, no eyewitnesses, and almost no physical evidence. The post wasn't enough to justify an investigation on its own.
Okay.
5 days later, everything changed.
Okay.
On December 26th, officers discovered another victim beneath the I-65 corridor. The man had been stabbed to death, and
Good God,
investigators
bro.
found disturbing symbols carved into his body.
Good God.
Even more horrifying,
Fucking psychopath.
several of his toes had been removed. That detail stopped detectives in their tracks.
What a
The
fucking
Reddit post
psychopath,
had mentioned
ho.
symbols before those details became public. Suddenly, what looked like idle speculation began to resemble insider knowledge. Investigators widened their search.
Why do they keep doing those
Officers
sounds,
interviewed
bro? It
unhoused
freaks me
residents
out.
living near the interstate, and several described an unusual man dressed in tactical-style clothing who had been harassing people around the camps. That description led detectives to previous police encounters involving a Louisville man named Michael Christoph. From there, the evidence began to accumulate.
That's your guy.
Investigators recovered surveillance footage placing Christoph near locations connected to the murders. They tracked his movements through security cameras and eventually began monitoring him more closely. During the investigation, detectives also obtained access to his digital
12/25,
accounts.
2025. This is on
What they found
Christmas.
proved devastating.
Christmas is on the
Stored in his
25th, right?
iCloud account was a photograph showing a severed human toe. His
Good
mobile
God.
phone placed him near one of the murder scenes at the time the victim was attacked. Then, detectives subpoenaed Reddit for information connected to the mysterious account that had started the investigation. The account's IP address traced directly back to Christoph's home internet connection. The anonymous Reddit user and the prime suspect were the same person. Investigators now believed Christoph had effectively inserted himself into his own murder investigation, revealing details that only the killer
What
should
a
have known.
dumbass.
As detectives closed in,
But
Christoph
that's good that he
refused
did
to
that.
surrender. When a SWAT team surrounded his home, he made an extraordinary 911 call, calmly telling dispatchers that he was in a shootout with police and had no intention of giving himself up. Negotiations failed, and the standoff ended when officers fatally shot him. The investigation
not gonna win,
continued
bro.
long after his death. Authorities searched his belongings, examined electronic evidence, and pieced together his online activity. According to investigators, Christoph had spent years participating in extremist online communities, including white supremacist forums. Federal authorities also revealed they had interacted with him years earlier while investigating alleged threats, suggesting he had already appeared on law enforcement's radar before the killings began. Even with that history, investigators believe the case might never have been solved had Christoph remained silent. The Reddit post gave detectives a starting point. His digital footprint provided the trail. Surveillance footage, location data, cloud storage, and internet records connected the remaining pieces. The case remains one of the strangest examples of a killer exposing himself through his own online activity. Serial killers often try to erase evidence and disappear into anonymity. Christoph appeared to do the
Anonymity?
opposite.
What the
Whether
hell?
he wanted attention, enjoyed manipulating investigators, or believed he would never be identified.
Yo, it's always these
remains
criminals that think that they're smarter than the cops, but they're so far from it.
uncertain. What is clear is that one anonymous Reddit post became the thread that ultimately unraveled the entire investigation. In trying to create a mystery, the killer unknowingly left detectives exactly what they needed to solve it. Hey there, are you still watching? We've barely scratched the surface,
The hell?
and the next cases only get
Just
stranger.
broke the fourth wall.
Now I'm curious, which story caught you completely off guard? Drop it in the comments, and while you're there,
Is the video
leave
over?
the flag of the country you're watching from. I'm always fascinated to see how far these stories travel.
Can you continue your
Let's
story?
get on to the next case. Trust me, it gets even more disturbing.
Ooh. One Reddit.
How one Reddit post uncovered a Lehigh student's fraud. For nearly
Fraud?
2 years, Aryan Anand
Like money
appeared to
fraud?
be living the ultimate success story. An international student from India, he had earned admission to Lehigh University on a full scholarship worth more than $85,000.
Cool.
His application painted the picture of a brilliant young man who had overcome unimaginable hardship. His father had
Phenomenal.
supposedly died. His family had endured severe financial struggles, and despite every obstacle, he had excelled academically. It was the kind of story admissions officers dream of discovering. There was only one problem. Almost none of it was true. Remarkably,
God.
the deception didn't unravel because of an audit, a background check, or a whistleblower. It collapsed because Anand anonymously confessed everything on Reddit. The post carried an unforgettable title, "I have built my life and career on lies." At first, it
Jesus.
looked like another anonymous
What makes you,
confession
like,
on
rat
one
on
of Reddit's
yourself?
many discussion
Ugh.
forums.
My leg.
The moderator who read it had no idea who the writer actually was, but one detail stood out. The account followed only a single university-related community, Lehigh University. Unsure what else to do, the moderator contacted the university and warned administrators about the confession.
Then only had one other university that he followed, which was Lehigh University. So the moderator actually reached
This guy
out
looks
to
like he
Lehigh,
solved it.
to give them a heads up.
That single email changed everything. Lehigh University police began reviewing Anand's application from the ground up. What they uncovered wasn't one isolated lie. It was an elaborate fictional biography constructed to secure admission and financial aid.
Yo, give him the degree for getting that past you. That's what I would say. He's smart enough to get that past you, bro.
Investigators discovered that his academic records had been falsified. His personal history had been fabricated. Even the documents supporting his application were fake.
Guy looks like he has
Perhaps
an
the
egg
most shocking
head.
discovery involved his father.
Head's in the shape of an
Anand
egg.
had submitted a death certificate, claiming his father had died. Detectives soon confirmed that his father was not only alive, but living in India. The scholarship itself had been awarded largely because admissions officers believed the extraordinary
What makes you
hardships
randomly
described
just
in
like
his application.
out yourself?
Those hardships had never happened. The university estimates that Anand received more than $85,000 in scholarships before the fraud was uncovered. Authorities arrested the 19-year-old on multiple charges, including felony forgery and theft of services. Under Pennsylvania law, those offenses carried the possibility of a lengthy prison sentence.
20?
Instead, the
20
case
years?
took an unexpected turn. University officials asked prosecutors not to pursue the harshest penalties. Rather than spending years behind bars, Anand accepted responsibility by pleading guilty. His punishment centered on expulsion from Lehigh University and deportation to India. Perhaps the most surprising decision came afterward. Despite the size of the scholarship, Lehigh University chose not to demand repayment of the $85,000 he had received.
They know he's
Many
smart.
students on campus believed the outcome was appropriate. Some argued that another deserving applicant had lost an opportunity because of the deception. Others felt the combination of public
College is
exposure,
everywhere,
expulsion, and deportation was already a life-changing consequence for someone only 19 years old.
Probably didn't understand the extent of like the situation. At least
She's
that's
probably
what I
into
like
me.
to think.
He did steal like a lot, and that scholarship could have went to like someone better.
Whatever side people
Better?
took,
Alright.
nearly everyone agreed.
I don't
on
know.
one
I don't
point.
think this was
The
bad.
fraud might never have been discovered without Reddit.
Obviously,
The irony
fraud
was
sucks,
difficult to
but like,
ignore. For years,
did something
Anand
smart.
successfully deceived admissions officers, scholarship committees, and document reviewers with forged records and fabricated stories. Yet, the carefully constructed illusion collapsed because he anonymously admitted the truth online. One
That's
confession
nuts.
accomplished what countless official documents had failed to do. The case has since become a striking reminder that elaborate frauds often end through surprisingly ordinary mistakes. Criminal investigations are sometimes solved by forensic science, financial records, or surveillance cameras. In this case, the decisive piece of evidence came from a single Reddit post and a moderator who chose not to ignore it. Anand spent years building a fictional version of himself, convincing enough to fool one of America's leading universities. In the end, the only person capable of exposing the lie was the one
himself.
who created it.
That's what I'm saying. Give that guy a scholarship.
The Redditor who didn't know they lived with a murderer. This
What?
story opens like something out of a horror film.
That's
but
scary.
Every terrifying detail really happened. A young woman
Bro, that'd be
had nowhere to
terrifying.
go after high school. She was
After high school many years ago, I was in a bad place. My guardian had kicked me out after graduation. She didn't help me find a place to stay, so I lived in my car for a couple months. I met some heavy metal dudes at work one day. I had seen them around town, and all my other friends knew who they were. Everyone loved them. We became friends over a couple of months, and they offered for me to move in with them. I agreed. Looking back now, I wish I would have just stayed in my car.
sleeping
Oh,
in her
shit.
car until a group of heavy metal musicians she knew through work offered her a place to stay. They asked for nothing in return.
That's
no rent,
sketchy.
no pressure, just a roof over her head.
That's sketchy.
It sounded like the kind of kindness that restores your faith in people. Instead, it almost became the last decision she ever made. The house belonged to two brothers, Andrew and
My two main roommates were brothers named Andrew and Seth. That's weird. I have a cousin named Andrew and a cousin named Seth. They were in a band, except my cousins are not in a band. They also believed in the occult and anything of that sort. I don't know what that means. I never really believed in that stuff, but I'm not one to tell someone what they should believe in. What they should believe. They had let me live with them rent-free for several months, so who was I to complain? Being the only female in the house full of young men, I was always looking over my shoulder. You never know who you can trust. Turns out I was right to worry. Smart. Yes, you're correct.
Seth,
Safety.
who played together in a band and were deeply fascinated by the occult. Although she never shared their beliefs, she respected them. They had given her a safe place to live when she had nowhere else to turn. At least, that's what she thought. Over time, the house became a revolving door for friends. Among the regular visitors were two brothers named Mark and Adam. Mark was easygoing, helpful.
Over time, their friends started to stay with us for longer periods of time, sometimes weeks. Their friends were other group of brothers that they had gone to school with. I can't read. There were 5 brothers in total, but only 2 stayed with us consistently. Younger brother Mark was very polite. He cleaned up after himself and always helped with the other household chores. The other brother, Adam, had a laundry list of mental problems. He had apparently done some bad drugs back in the day, and it had developed into what seems like psychosis of the religious sort. He had done time in prison for assaulting a woman with a Bible. He would often look you in your eyes and tell you he could see how you would die. Once he told me that I was possessed by a demon and I needed my soul cleansed. Yeah, you've lost it. If someone ever says that, don't believe them.
And always cleaned up after himself. Adam was different. Everyone knew he struggled with severe mental health problems after years of heavy drug use. He had previously served time in prison for assaulting a woman with a Bible.
Insane.
He would stare people directly in the eyes and calmly predict how they would die. On one
Crazy.
occasion, he told the young woman she was possessed by a demon and needed her soul cleansed. Most of the house dismissed
That's
his
a nice
behavior
house.
as part of his illness.
For a heavy metal group?
She never did. She constantly felt uneasy
That's a
around
he.
him, sensing that something was deeply
Maybe it's
wrong.
a she. I don't know. I don't remember this
But
gender.
nobody imagined how quickly those fears would become reality.
Oh, my leg, bro. I'm in
Then,
so much pain.
one unexpected phone call changed everything. One afternoon, her boss called and asked whether she could come into work an hour early. She needed the money, so she agreed without hesitation. As she walked through the living room, everything appeared perfectly normal. Andrew and Mark were sitting on the couch, while Adam sat on the floor watching religious videos on YouTube, something everyone had grown used to seeing. She said goodbye and left. Just
Okay.
over an hour later, while finishing her shift, another phone call arrived. This time, it wasn't her boss. It was a detective. A detective. He told her something had happened at the apartment
Whoa.
and asked her to come to the police station immediately.
Whoa.
She assumed one of the guys had been arrested. The truth was far worse. At the station, detectives revealed that Adam had stabbed Andrew to death shortly after she left the apartment. There had been no argument, no warning, and no obvious trigger. The attack appeared completely unprovoked. As investigators
Jesus.
pieced together the crime, the details became even more horrifying.
Thank God she
Adam
went to
had
work.
stabbed Andrew repeatedly, nearly decapitating him before leaving the apartment, still carrying the weapon. He then called 911 himself and confessed. But the nightmare didn't end there.
My God.
Police recovered notebooks showing the killing had been planned well in advance. According to investigators, Adam believed everyone in the house was possessed by demons. Andrew was only the first name on his list. The others were supposed to die next. That
Whoa.
list included Mark. It also included the young woman who had accepted a room in the house months earlier.
My
The
God.
only reason she survived was because her boss happened to call and ask her to start work an hour early.
I would never leave that
Mark
job.
witnessed the murder, but managed to escape before Adam could reach him. The woman never returned to the apartment. Instead, she watched the investigation unfold through news reports,
My
learning
God.
details that police had initially withheld. Court records later identified the killer as Isaiah Marin and the victim as Jacob Crockett. Investigators also discovered that Isaiah had become increasingly consumed by extreme religious beliefs and frequently argued with Jacob over his interest in witchcraft. Eventually, he convinced himself that murder was the only way to cleanse those he believed were possessed.
Yeah, that's
Sometimes
insanity,
people say
bro.
survival comes down to instinct.
My
In
God.
this case, it came down to a routine phone call. One ordinary request from a boss that arrived at exactly the right moment. Without it, this story would never have been told.
That would be terrifying, bro. It's like you barely
How Reddit
survived.
turned
You
on
barely got
YouTube's
out of there.
most wholesome creator. Millions of people knew
Huh?
her as the woman who gave forgotten foxes a second chance. To her audience, Michaela Raines wasn't just another animal creator.
This is a
She was the
YouTuber?
face of Save a Fox Rescue, an organization that transformed neglected and abandoned foxes into thriving,
she seems so
playful
sweet.
animals. Her videos attracted millions of followers across YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, where viewers watched remarkable rescues,
My
emotional
God.
rehabilitations, and heartwarming reunions. Behind the camera, however, life had become far more complicated than anyone realized. Michaela and her husband, Ethan Raines, built both a family and a rescue operation centered on one mission:
Wait, have I
saving
heard about these
animals
guys?
that had nowhere else to go. Since marrying in 2020, they have cared for hundreds of animals while also raising their young daughter, balancing the
Yeah, he
demanding
seems sweet
realities
so
of
far.
wildlife rescue with the constant pressure of maintaining one of the internet's most recognizable animal channels. To their followers, everything appeared to be moving forward. Then everything changed. This week, Ethan announced that Michaela had died, leaving behind not only her family, but also an online community that had followed her journey
Oh
for
my
years.
gosh.
News of her
Died?
death spread rapidly across social media, prompting an outpouring of grief from supporters around the world.
He doesn't even
who
look
credited
sad.
her work with changing how people viewed foxes and wildlife rescue.
I'm gonna be honest, I really don't have any words to describe it. It's definitely been the hardest time in my life, for sure.
As tributes flooded in, Ethan shared a deeply personal message about the challenges Michaela had been facing, and they were far from what we expected to hear. He spoke about the enormous emotional weight of operating a rescue, the responsibility of caring for countless animals, and the relentless scrutiny that often accompanies life as a public figure online. He also described the impact that years of hostile comments and online criticism had on her well-being. Most of these comments came from Reddit. According to Ethan, the constant negativity became another burden she carried, while already managing the pressures of running a rescue organization. His message resonated with thousands of people. Soon after, an online petition calling for action against a forum dedicated to criticizing Michaela and her rescue began circulating, gathering more than 10,000 signatures in a short period. Supporters argued that sustained online harassment can have real-world consequences, while others
Oh,
used
is
the
that really
moment
what
to
happened? I
reflect
thought
on
he
how
was like
easily
the-
criticism posted
I
behind
thought he
the
like
screen
killed her.
can affect someone on the receiving end.
Oh, it was
For
actually.
Ethan, the issue extends far beyond
Damn.
one community or one creator.
I'm sorry.
He hopes people will remember that every social media account belongs to a real person, with struggles that may never be visible in a video or post.
Damn.
A comment typed in seconds can stay with someone far longer than the person who wrote it ever realizes. The tragedy has also highlighted another reality of online life. Content creators often share joyful moments with millions of viewers while carrying responsibilities and personal pressures that remain completely hidden.
Feeding animals like that always scares me because I'm like, dude, there's like meat in my hand. What if they confuse my finger as that meat?
Wildlife rescue itself is physically exhausting,
It's a ferret.
emotionally demanding, and financially
Or a
uncertain.
lemur?
Combining that with the expectations of a global audience creates a level of stress that few people ever see. Today, supporters continue honoring
sad,
Michaela's
dude.
legacy by sharing her rescue videos, donating
God.
to animal welfare organizations, and remembering the countless foxes and other animals whose lives were transformed because of her work. Her story has become more than the story of a successful
sad.
creator.
That is true. You never know what somebody's going through behind the camera, bro. Yeah, dude. Dude, honestly, I'll open up to you guys real quick. Like, I have worries about getting big on YouTube and stuff. Like, I've always wanted to be a big YouTuber. But, like, I get worried that, like, I no longer want to get too big. I just want to have, you know, enough to pay the bills and just have fun just doing this, you know? Just sitting here relaxing with you guys. I know there's nobody here right now, but just sitting here relaxing with you guys. If I was able to just pay my bills and just like engage with my community, play games sometimes, talk on here, go out and do some stuff IRL sometimes, like visit other creators, go to like, one of my dreams is to go and visit Alveus, bro, because I also love animals. And I would love to learn about animals, but yeah, dude, I get afraid of getting too big on the internet. And I know if I do, then I'm gonna have to figure out how to, like, I don't know. I'm not gonna be on the internet as much. Like, I'll stream and stuff, make videos, have my editors upload videos and stuff, but I'm not gonna be reading comments and stuff if I get too big. I'll have like a group of people who do it, and then they'll tell me, like, you know, what needs to be heard and what, you know, and they won't tell me anything else. But yeah, I know you're not gonna be able to avoid all of it, but still, like, I get afraid to get too big. Pause.
It has sparked a broader
It's
conversation
sad,
about
bro.
empathy,
The internet's sad.
accountability, and the human beings behind every profile picture. If there's one lesson many supporters have taken from this tragedy, it's that kindness online is never insignificant.
You're so sweet, bro.
Every message has the potential to encourage someone, and every interaction contributes to the kind of online community we
I would
choose
love
to
to ride a
build.
horse.
If you or someone you know is struggling emotionally, reaching out to a trusted friend,
Oh
family
my
member,
God, bro.
or a qualified
she was
mental
living
health
the
professional
life.
can make a meaningful difference. Support is available.
You never know what
and
someone's
no one
going
has
through.
to face difficult moments alone.
My God. You never know what someone's going through, guys. If I have anything that I want you guys to take away from this video, once in a while, bro, just send a random person, even if it's a bigger YouTuber or somebody that you look up to. Like, just send them a message asking them how they're doing and let them know that you support them. Even if they won't see it, do it to your friends and family as well. I'm going to start doing it as well myself. Just send a random message, you know, letting people know that you care and they're heard and that you're proud of what they're doing. Like, offer yourself. Like, you're a helping hand. Damn,
How
that's
Reddit's
sad.
most infamous troll was finally caught. The username, Violent Acres, was once one of the most infamous names on Reddit. For years, it represented the platform's uncompromising commitment to free speech, anonymity, and minimal moderation.
Anonymity.
To some
Alright.
users, Violent Acres was a defender of unrestricted expression. To many others, he embodied everything that had gone
I know
wrong
exactly
with
what
the
he looks
early
like.
internet.
Just like
That
through
debate
that.
changed dramatically in October 2012 when journalist Adrian Chen uncovered the real person behind the anonymous account. The revelation exposed not only the identity of
Knew
Michael
it.
Bruch,
I
but
knew
also
that's what he
forced
looked
Reddit
like.
to confront difficult questions about the kind of
I thought he had a
platform it wanted
brown
to
beard,
become.
but yeah, I knew
Before
that's what he
was
looked like.
identified, Violent Acres had spent years operating under the assumption that his online identity would remain separate from his real life. Behind that anonymity, he created or
There you go
moderated
again with that
hundreds of
word,
subreddits,
anonymity.
many dedicated to material designed to provoke outrage or exploit legal gray areas. His activities made him one of Reddit's most recognizable
Hey,
and
what kind of
controversial
keyboard
users,
is that? What the fuck?
but they also drew increasing
What kind of keyboard is that? My God.
attention from journalists, users, and eventually the wider public. Among the communities he managed, none became more notorious than war/jailbait, a subreddit devoted to sharing sexualized images of underage girls.
Come on, man.
Although the community claimed to avoid material that clearly violated U.S.
Oh,
law,
I can't even lift my
it
leg, guys.
deliberately
It's bad.
operated as close to that legal boundary as possible. Many of the photographs were taken from social media accounts or other public sources, without the knowledge or consent of the girls depicted. The subreddit treated
My
these images
God.
as entertainment, rewarding contributors with Reddit's karma system, while normalizing conduct that many regarded as deeply
I need to clean my
exploitative.
screens.
As the community grew,
they're so dirty.
so did its visibility. Critics argued that the distinction between what was technically legal and what was ethically acceptable had become meaningless. Child protection advocates, journalists, and ordinary Reddit users increasingly questioned why the forum remained active at all. Each controversy intensified scrutiny of Reddit's moderation policies and leadership, turning r/jailbait into one of the platform's earliest and most damaging public scandals. What had once existed on the fringes of the site was now impossible for Reddit or the wider internet to ignore. The existence of r/jailbait exposed a growing divide between legality and ethics. At the time, Reddit largely defended a hands-off approach to moderation, arguing that it functioned as a platform for user-generated content rather than an editorial publisher. As long as material remained within the law, administrators were generally reluctant to intervene. Critics argued that this philosophy ignored the real harm caused by communities that existed primarily
Is he
to
even typing
objectify
anything?
minors or invade people's
My
privacy.
God.
Public pressure steadily mounted. Journalists investigated the subreddit. Advocacy campaigns highlighted the exploitation occurring on the platform.
See, here we go again with
and
these
television
keyboards.
coverage
Is
brought
it
the
AI?
controversy to a mainstream audience. Faced with growing criticism, Reddit eventually changed course. In February 2012, the company permanently banned Rinzreen jailbait and introduced broader policies prohibiting communities dedicated to sexualized content involving minors. The controversy soon expanded beyond a single subreddit. Communities such as r/creepshots, where users secretly photographed unsuspecting women and girls in public,
My
attracted
God.
similar criticism. When one prominent contributor was revealed to be a school teacher photographing students without their knowledge, public scrutiny intensified. Reddit responded by removing additional communities that promoted invasive or exploitative behavior. The defining moment, however,
Tell me how they
came when
found the
Adrian
guy.
Chen identified Violent Acres as Michael Bruch. For years, Bruch had relied on anonymity to separate his online activities from
What
his
does that
personal
mean?
life. Once his identity became
Anonymity.
public, that separation disappeared overnight.
Siri.
He lost his job.
What does
faced
anonymity
widespread
mean?
Sorry, something's gone wrong. Please try again.
What does anonymity mean? Yeah, what does anonymity mean? Yo, Siri, you keep saying something gone wrong. Are you able to answer questions? I didn't get that. Hey, Siri, what does anonymity mean? I had to touch my mouth to it. Hey, Siri, what does anonymity mean? The condition of being anonymous. I have to touch my mouth to my phone in order to talk to Siri.
Public criticism.
Phenomenal.
And Reddit itself came under intense examination for its previous relationship with one of its most controversial moderators. More importantly, the incident marked a turning point in Reddit's history. It demonstrated that absolute neutrality was increasingly difficult for large online platforms to maintain. The company began adopting stricter moderation policies and took a more active role in removing communities that
porn
promoted
purveyor?
exploitation, harassment, or other harmful conduct. More than a decade later, the Violent Acres controversy remains an important chapter in the history of the modern internet. It illustrates that freedom of expression and platform responsibility are not mutually exclusive, and that anonymity, while valuable for protecting
Yo, you gotta
legitimate
stop
speech,
using that word, gang.
can also shield harmful behavior.
It's like when you just learn a word and then you can't stop using it.
Debate continues today, but this episode helped establish an enduring principle. Protecting open discussion should never come at the expense of the safety, dignity, and privacy of others.
True.
The Reddit investigation that found a stolen car. Most stories about social
That's not
media
too big of
focus
a
on
deal.
misinformation, scams.
I guess it's
or
interesting that a
online
Reddit
arguments.
post,
Every now
helped
and
you
then,
find a
however,
car. I guess that's
the
the
internet
point.
reminds us that millions of strangers can work together for something genuinely positive. In late 2015, one San Francisco
You guys
man
know a fun fact? Little fun fact for you guys to take away from this video. Every single day, another day goes by. Just learned that one myself.
experienced exactly that. after his prized vehicle disappeared from outside his home.
Land Rover.
What happened next showed how quickly an online community can become a real-world search party. Earlier that year, Sebastian DeWitt had fulfilled a longtime dream by purchasing a 1991 Land Rover Defender. Because the model is relatively rare in the United States,
Such a cool
he
car.
traveled all the way to Texas to buy it before bringing it home to San Francisco.
Jesus.
The vehicle was more than just transportation. It represented months of searching and a significant personal investment. The morning after Thanksgiving, Sebastian and his wife planned to drive to a nearby tree lot to pick out a Christmas tree. But when they stepped outside, the Land Rover was gone.
My
At
God.
first, there was confusion. Then came the realization that the vehicle had been stolen overnight.
I look around, and I can't find my car. It's not there.
Like most people in that situation, Sebastian
My
immediately
God.
reported the theft to police. Unfortunately, the initial investigation produced no leads. As the weekend passed without any
my
updates,
leg, bro. It's-
frustration began to set in. Rather than waiting passively, he decided to expand the search beyond traditional methods. He posted photographs of the missing Land Rover across several social media platforms, including Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Reddit. His hope was simple. If enough people recognized the distinctive vehicle, someone might eventually
That is a
spot it
very
somewhere in the
nice car.
city.
I would love
That
that
decision
car.
proved to be the turning point. Reddit users began sharing the post throughout the local community. One person remembered seeing the unusual Land Rover around town, while others kept an eye out during their daily routines. Before long, Sebastian received an unexpected message from a stranger who believed they had found the vehicle. Instead of simply reporting the location and leaving, the individual stayed with the Land Rover while contacting police. They waited until either the officers or Sebastian arrived, ensuring the vehicle would not
Nice,
disappear
what a good
again before
person.
it could be recovered. Remarkably, the Land Rover was found within roughly 12 hours of Sebastian posting on
My
Reddit.
God.
Although the thieves had caused some damage and were never identified, Sebastian had something far more important back. A vehicle he believed might be gone forever had been returned thanks almost entirely to ordinary people volunteering
Why is there
their
creepy
time
music?
to help someone they had never met. Wanting to express his gratitude, Sebastian offered a reward to the person
Ding
who
dong.
had located the vehicle. The response surprised him even more than finding the car. The stranger politely declined, explaining that they simply wanted him to enjoy the holidays with his family. The experience
What if it was
left
him
a
that took
lasting
it?
impression.
The guy who found
After
it.
days of disappointment, Sebastian said the kindness shown by complete strangers had restored his faith in people. Even police officers reportedly remarked that it was not the kind of recovery they saw every day. Stories like this highlight one of the internet's most overlooked strengths. Platforms such as Reddit are often criticized for hosting conflict, misinformation, or toxic discussions.
I was literally about to
and
say
those
shout out
criticisms
Reddit,
are
but
sometimes justified. Yet the very same networks can also connect thousands of people with a shared purpose in a matter of hours. In this case, no sophisticated technology solved the mystery. There was no viral campaign involving celebrities or large organizations. It was simply a community of ordinary users paying attention, sharing information, and choosing
I
to
gotta
help
clean
someone
this
in
screen.
need. What began as a desperate plea from one frustrated owner evolved into a remarkable example of digital communities working together in the real world,
my God.
proving that collective vigilance can sometimes succeed where chance alone would have failed. Sometimes, the internet's greatest achievement is not creating the next viral trend. Sometimes, it is helping a stranger get home in time to pick out a Christmas tree with their family.
Yo, these videos are always super interesting to watch. Oh, dude, guys, I'm in so much pain. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap the stream up here. Hey, if you guys like videos like that, you already know the deal. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm gonna upload each of these onto my clips channel as well as the whole VOD onto the VODs channel. But yeah, bro, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are absolutely amazing. I always love hanging out with you guys, even if it was just Artie and Josh here today. Appreciate y'all. I'll see you guys next time.